So just before we take up the reading, bringing our minds to the present moment in the body. Anyone would like to read the opening aspiration, please go ahead.
Yes. Opening aspiration. With boundless compassion and wisdom, I will work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord, and have joy and a world at peace.
Thank you. So we are continuing with verse 12. Which is this one. If someone driven by great desire seizes all my wealth or induces others to do so, to dedicate him to him or her my body, my possessions, and past, present, and future merit, is the practice of a Bodhisattva. And as we were discussing, I think in the beginning of this verse, that these verses starting from maybe 11, verse 11, are the kind of a higher level of practice where at times it may not appear very resonating to us that why would I do so? So if someone is making me suffer, how can I wish well for that person? So, and that is why the earlier verses or the grounding practices are important before we can even think of. Otherwise, these verses won't make that much of sense. That why would I do so? Am I mad? So that's why they are called a kind of a higher degree of practice for the higher bodhisattvas. So today we have to start from this end of page 79. When we come across people who create difficulties for us. So yes, if anyone would like to read, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go. When we come across people who create difficulties for us or who shame us, there is this sense of me that comes across quite strongly. They are insulting me, humiliating me, cheating me. That sense of me that is so strong at those times can be helpful because we see clearly what we are dealing with. If there were no me, then where would the problem be? If there were no me, then where would the problem be? There wouldn't be any problem, Dilgo Khintre Rinpoche lucidly points out. To practice in such a way also helps to eradicate your belief in a truly existing self, for finally your true enemies are not some ruthless people in power, some fierce raiders or merciless competitors who constantly harass you, take everything you have, or threaten you with legal proceedings. Your real enemy is your belief in a self. That idea of an enduring self has kept you wandering helplessly in the lower realms of samsara for countless past lifetimes. It is the very thing that now prevents you from liberating yourself and others from conditioned existence. If you could simply let go of that one thought of I, you would find it easy to be free and to free others too. If you overcome the belief in a truly existing self today, you will be liberated today. If you overcome it tomorrow, you will be enlightened tomorrow. But if you never overcome it, you will never gain liberation.
Thank you. Yeah, so anything here, anyone? So I think it must be an experience of all of us, how draining it is to always be thinking about ourselves. And usually these thoughts just go around in a loop in the background. At times we are fueling it, and at times believing it, all of the chatter that goes on in the head. And when we don't believe in it, and even if it may be in the background, all this chatter, then slowly it kind of loses grip over us, and it takes time, because even when one day I may be able to kind of put it in the background and not believe in it, knowing that there is no point believing in all this chatter about me, and what the other person did to me, and why I am acting in this way, or all the thoughts, as she says, around me. If we are tired of that, if we have done that enough, I think then we will have the courage to ignore them completely, and then they can go into the background and won't have such a overwhelming influence as they usually have. But if we think that thinking about those things that go in the background is very important for me, I have to think, then of course, nobody can help us. So slowly, through life experiences and all the happenings, we grow in conviction that there is no point indulging in that chatter anymore. So one can begin to dissociate. And as we begin to dissociate, we see that their power or their influence also decreases slowly when they see that we are not being entertained anymore. So this is the cause of our misery, these thoughts which are centered around a little me. All of us can notice this in our mind and feelings, that whenever the mind and feelings are miserable, you're suffering, just notice that the crux of the matter is that, why are these things happening to me? Why this did not happen to me? So the crux is this of our misery. And when we go through these situations where we notice that actually the crux is me, then we can be thankful, because all these outer situations where we try to find our fulfillment but always find a rejection from there, or we see that things are not happening in the way I would like them to happen, it slowly can turn us inward, and we can actually become udasin, which is hopeless from the outer situations, that yes, they are never ever going to fulfill the fulfillment that I am looking from them outside. And slowly we can realize that actually there is nothing that needs fulfillment, because that belief in this little me is what causes the whole problem. So slowly we can let go of that belief in this little me which has to be fulfilled. So one way of saying it is this, and again many infinite possibilities on discussion on this matter, but one way is this, where these lines are kind of hinting at that the idea of an enduring self, that there is something solid that I call as me, that enduring self, this idea, this belief in it, has kept you wandering helplessly in the lower realms of samsara, which is all this entanglement in the mind and the feelings, for countless pastimes, past lifetimes. It is the very thing that now prevents you from liberating yourself and others from this conditioned existence. So I think it's only through our life experiences that we can gain conviction and courage to let go of this idea. Otherwise, there is no possibility, it seems, if we are not convinced. So, yeah, anything here? Anyone wants to add on or share?
Yeah, this line that you just said, that idea of an enduring self has kept you wandering helplessly. This idea, right, of that somebody, something in me is enduring. And this one that the practice in such a way helps to eradicate your belief in a truly existing self. So we have sometimes touched upon this, right? That how there is actually everything is an illusion, right? And yet, because everything appears to be so real, this material appears to be so real. You can touch it, hold it, see it. That when somebody says, or when you read that it is all an illusion, something doesn't resonate, right? Because it's so strongly visible. So, just if you could reflect a little bit on that, because I know you've done a transcript also, which was on the illusionary nature that you had shared briefly once. If you could talk a little bit more on that.
So I think, as you shared, that we have touched upon these aspects earlier, and we do that from time to time. That even say science or quantum physics now tells us that that which appears very solid is actually not solid. So from there also we get an understanding that what am I trying to grasp at? There is, it's like you're trying to grasp at a cloud. You're trying to want the cloud that it should come in your grasp, but the cloud cannot come into your grasp. It's like, it's nature is like wave like or transparent. So in Buddhism, this is one of the main points that they again and again reflect upon, debate upon, that there is nothing that can be gotten in either you or another person that you are wanting to, kind of get hold of. And not only person but also life situations, क्योंकि हम सबको कहीं ना कहीं से उम्मीद बंधी होती है कि कुछ मिलेगा ऐसा, कभी मुझे कुछ ऐसा मिलेगा जिसमें मुझे एक संपूर्णता मिल जाएगी। तो सबको उस संपूर्णता की तलाश है। तो हम क्या करते हैं, उसकी वजह से हम लोगों से चिपकते हैं कि अब ये रिलेशनशिप, ये फ्रेंडशिप, दैट कंपेनियनशिप, और वहाँ पे हम तलाशते हैं उस बंदे को ग्रास्प करने की कोशिश करते हैं, उसको डोमिनेट कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करते हैं कि अगर ये मेरे काबू में आ जाए देन आई विल हैव फुलफिलमेंट। So in Buddhism, as you were sharing, that they reflect upon this constantly, that there is no solid self that is graspable, neither in me nor in any person or situation out there. And they do it again and again with lots of reasoning. Like they talk about these elements, that okay, what are these elements? Everyone is made up of fire, water, earth, all these elements. Where is that me that you are talking of? And actually, if we see, we can't point at any me. And this is the basis of, for example, Ramana Maharishi's self inquiry. तो वो जब पूछते हैं कि ये क्वेश्चन किसने पूछा, मुझे ये बताओ कि ये क्वेश्चन किसने पूछा. So then you go in search of that who has asked this question, and you actually can't find that entity. There is no solid entity which is asking the question. So वही जो क्या बात करते हैं उपनिषद में, इसको उस तरीके से कहते हैं कि आप दूर से देखो तो आपको सांप नजर आ रहा है, आप पास जाके देखते हो तो एक्चुअली में वो सांप नहीं है, वो रस्सी है. सो ऐसा लग रहा है, दूर से प्रतीत हो रहा है. इट मेक्स, सो इन बुद्धिज्म आल्सो दे से दैट इट, दिस face or the shape that we have, it makes us, because of the appearances or because of the senses, it makes us feel that there is a solid entity which is here. But as I was sharing, that even in quantum physics they are sharing that there is no solid entity. All the solidity that I feel because of the body, like I can touch, there is a solidity here, it is because of the limitation of my senses. Otherwise there is nothing here, that solid, that flesh जैसा जो feel होता है वो actually में नहीं है. तो मैं क्या grasp कर लूंगी जब वो वहां पे कुछ है ही नहीं. So both body wise also we can come to this understanding that यहाँ पे कुछ है ही नहीं तो पकड़ोगे क्या और fulfillment कहाँ से मिलेगी. And the other thing is that मेरे अंदर कुछ ऐसा enduring self नहीं है जिसके लिए मुझे मांगना है. क्योंकि मेरी आशा क्या है, मेरी आशा ये है कि मैं हूं this little me, this enduring little self, और मुझे क्योंकि अपने आप को पूरा करना है तो मुझे मांगना है, मुझे बाहर से कुछ लेना है. तो ना वो यहाँ पे है कुछ लिटिल मी, ना वो आउटसाइड है कुछ लिटिल मी, तो पूरा किसको कर रहे हो, कौन है जो पूरा होने वाला है. सो दे अटैक एट दिस बेसिक रूट ऑफ अवर मिजरी विच इज दिस लिटिल सेल्फ, which I feel is very enlightening if we can look at it, because this is the root of our misery. तो अगर हम कभी सफर कर रहे हैं, अभी हम ये सोच रहे हैं कि कोई बंदा हमारी बात नहीं समझता, why are people not understanding, why is life not understanding towards me, and if we question that who is this me, where is this me located, then we will find that actually we can't pinpoint any me. We can point at the element, like okay, this is earth element, I have fire element, there is vision, there are senses, but where is the me? So then we, that also becomes illusory. मतलब मेरी जो demands हैं या expectations हैं, they also become kind of just like clouds. They can come and go, but I won't rigidly and solidly believe in them, because now I don't believe that rigidly in that solid little me. So again, that is just the crux of the matter. For we can read more, understand more, but that is what they debate a lot in Buddhism, कि कुछ है ही नहीं तो ये पूरा किसको करने चले, है ना. अब इसी चीज को हम इंटेग्रल योगा में हम क्या कहते हैं, हम कहते हैं कि अच्छा हाँ पूरे हो सकते हो, है ना. दूसरे तरीके से हम कहते हैं कि हाँ पूरे हो सकते हो, लेकिन पूर्णता सिर्फ डिवाइन में मिलेगी और कहीं नहीं मिलेगी, है ना. और जब हम डिवाइन की बात करते हैं तो क्या बोलते हैं हम, है ना. जरूरी नहीं है कि सब लोग मदर या श्री अरबिंदो की फॉर्म को माने, कुछ लोग फॉर्मलेस डिवाइन को मानते हैं, है ना. एंड वी कैन ऑल्सो इक्वेट डिवाइन टू इन्फिनिटी. अब आप इन्फिनिटी को टच और फील थोड़ी ना कर सकते, मीन्स इन अनदर वे एक्चुअली दे आर बोथ रेजोनेटिंग. इधर कह रहे हैं कि यहाँ पे कुछ है ही नहीं तो फुलफिल किसको करोगे, और यहाँ पे कह रही है कि फुलफिलमेंट सिर्फ डिवाइन में मिलेगी. डिवाइन इन्फिनिट है, डिवाइन अननोएबल है, डिवाइन को आप ग्रास्प नहीं कर सकते, और इधर भी तो यही कह रहे हैं कि यहाँ पे कुछ ग्रास्पेबल है भी नहीं। सो देखा जाए तो दोनों तरफ बात एक ही हो रही है, बट उसको जिस तरीके से बोला जाता है वो इट रेजोनेट्स विद डिफरेंट पीपल विद डिफरेंट माइंडसेट्स, एंड टू सम दिस में रेजोनेट, टू सम बोथ में रेजोनेट, टू सम ओनली से मदर श्री अरबिंदो और अदर एस्पेक्ट्स में रेजोनेट। बट बात एक ही हो रही है कि जो फुलफिलमेंट फाइनाइट में ढूंढने चले हो वो मिलने नहीं वाली, वो पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं है, वो डिजाइन ऑफ क्रिएशन नहीं है, एंड दैट बिकम्स अवर रूट ऑफ मिजरी। क्योंकि हम ऐसी जगह पे सिर मार रहे हैं जहाँ पे सिर मारने से कोई फायदा नहीं है, क्योंकि वहां पे कुछ है ही नहीं। हमको लग रहा है वहां कुछ है, बट वहां कुछ है ही नहीं। तो यस, एंड इसी को मदर दूसरे वर्ड्स में कहती हैं, व्हाट अ रिलीफ इट इज व्हेन वी आर इन सेल्फ फॉरगेटफुलनेस, वी आर नॉट ऑब्सेसिवली थिंकिंग अबाउट अवर सेल्फ, है ना। तो वो लिटिल मी से ध्यान हट गया, सेल्फ एब्नेगेशन, इम्पर्सनैलिटी, ये सारी चीजें उसी की तरफ इंडिकेट कर रही है। Because whenever we are personal, we always have issues. When we are impersonal, where is the issue? Tell me. Yeah. Anything more here? No. So now this thing, is very powerful when he shares that this idea of enduring self has kept you wandering helplessly in the rural lower realms of samsara for countless past lifetimes. This thing, Shanti Deva, another Buddhist master, he shares in a very interesting way, which resonates with me a lot. There was this a few verses of Shanti Deva where he shares that whenever we notice consciously, when we become conscious of all these thoughts centered around me in our mind, then we can say to that now I see you, now I can see you, and you have kept me constantly wandering in this hell realm in my being, and now I am not going to give you the importance that I have given you earlier. And so just rephrasing or talking about it in different words, but the verse says from Shantideva that you have kept me wandering for thousand lifetimes, and now I can see you. I see your actions, I see your evil tendency. So don't think that this time I am going to be swayed by you or puppeted by you. So whenever we become conscious in us of thoughts which are always obsessed about me, rather than following the dictates, we can actually just kind of shrug it off, like shrugging the dust off our shoulders. So that is also one possibility if we have suffered enough. इतनी आराम से होते नहीं है ना कन्विंस। Okay, so I think then we can go ahead if not anything right now. Yeah, so this next paragraph we can take on page number 80 if anyone would like to read.
Yeah, when we come into opposition with people who are humiliating or criticizing us, especially if the criticisms are not even true, then that self of defensiveness becomes clear. Since this is what we are dealing with, we feel grateful for their help. This is exactly the central part of this text. how to take these challenging situations involving the eight worldly concerns: praise and blame, gain and loss, pleasure and pain, and fame and infamy, onto the path and use them for our spiritual progress towards inner transformation. This is the heart of the matter in many of the verses, and each verse is dealing with a slightly different nuance of problems that arise in our daily life.
Yeah,
Should I continue?
no, take a pause. Yeah, thank you. Yes. So in Buddhism, they call these the eight worldly concerns, or the we can in Hindi, or coming from a different tradition, we can say uh, like Kabir ji talks about the stones of duality, like two stones of duality, like, and in between we are kind of getting ground, जैसे आटा पिसता है दो पाटन के बीच में साबुत बचा ना कोई. So he uses the two kind of rocks or stones of duality, and in Buddhism we call them eight worldly concerns. Now I have seen that whenever we are suffering, we are actually stuck in one of these concerns. So the eight worldly concerns are running after praise and not wanting blame. है ना, कितने परेशान होते हैं हम, कोई हमें ब्लेम कर रहा हो और हमने वो काम किया भी ना हो, तो हम बहुत ही ज़्यादा वी सफ़र, वी बिकम रियली टेंस एंड वी बिकम, बहुत परेशानी होती है उससे. और जब हमको रिकग्निशन मिल नहीं रहा होता, जो हमको लगता है नहीं मैंने तो ये काम किया है, मेरे को रिकॉग्नाइज, व्हाई आर नॉट पीपल अप्रिशिएटिंग मी, रिकॉग्निशन क्यों नहीं मिल रहा, कोई अच्छा ज़्यादा स्माइल ना करे, अवार्ड ना करे, बट ये रिकॉग्नाइज तो करे कि मैंने ये काम किया. सो अगेन वी रन टूवर्ड्स praise and we run away from blame. This becomes the cause of our misery. The second one is gain and loss. So wanting gain, and when you have loss, not wanting it, or having disgust about it, or getting frustrated or annoyed about the loss, or becoming angry about the loss, and becoming very passionate about the gain, कि चाहिए ही चाहिए, चाहिए ही चाहिए, all the worldly gains, think about it. तो उसमें हम क्या करते हैं, we become very violent. First of all, we become tense and stressed, and secondly, we become very violent. और यूजुअली दैट इज़ वाई दे से दैट अगर हम सिर्फ अपनी और अपने चार लोग जो हमारे फैमिली मेंबर हैं उसी को अगर हम परिवार समझेंगे, तो ऐसा हो नहीं सकता कि हम किसी एक ना एक पॉइंट पे आके दूसरों को अपना दुश्मन ना समझने लग जाए. क्योंकि मानो मेरे पापा या मेरी मम्मी को कुछ मिलना चाहिए, वो फिर मेरे को ये हो रहा है कि नहीं मेरे पापा हैं इनको पहले मिलना चाहिए, मेरी मम्मी है इनको पहले मिलना चाहिए, उनको कैसे मिल रहा है, पहले हम खड़े थे लाइन में पहले. So this develops a lot of anger and kind of also hatred at times. Ambition also comes through this, कि ये चार मेरे अपने हैं और बाकी पराए हैं, तो पहले मेरे चार को मिलना चाहिए, बाकी जो पराए हैं उनको मिले ना मिले मेरे को कोई रिलेशन नहीं है उससे. So that is that leads to a lot of indifference and ambition, and again lots of violence and aggression about that I want to achieve for me and my family, and rest all can go to hell, I don't really care. So again running towards gain and not wanting loss, we get stuck in. Then third is pleasure and pain. This would be actually 1 2 3 4 5 6. So fifth and sixth are pleasure and pain, wanting pleasure, and that is why we want to do things again and again which give us any kind of pleasure. Meeting somebody gives you pleasure. What do you want to do? You meet that person again and again. You want to meet that person again and again. क्यों? क्योंकि आपका अब उस पर डिपेंडेंसी हो गई प्लेजर के लिए. Maybe watching a movie gives you pleasure, so you want to do again and again. Maybe shopping gives you pleasure, you want to repeat it, you want to do it again and again. So wanting pleasure, because we don't have delight, so we run after pleasure. And as Sri Aurobindo shares in Savitri, that earth's joys shut from the immortal bliss. तो जब तक हम प्लेजर के पीछे भागते रहेंगे, for a long time we will not be able to access the true delight that is there within our being. So running after pleasure and running away from pain. अकेले रहने में क्या होता है? दर्द. वो हमसे बर्दाश्त नहीं होता. तो उस दर्द को हम फीका करने के लिए we indulge in all kinds of things which may not be beneficial, but we do that. Why? क्योंकि बर्दाश्त नहीं हो रहा. पेन है. Pain of loneliness, pain of not having a relationship, pain of not having relatives around who can care for you. All kinds of pains we have. We don't want that pain. So that also, when we are not wanting pain, that also brings lots of misery. Running away, escaping pain. कि क्यों है ये यहाँ पे मेरी life में? Not wanting to go through it. So running after pleasure and not wanting pain gives us misery, suffering. So these are all causes of suffering that we are taking, 8 worldly concerns. And then the 7th and 8th are fame and infamy. We all want fame. We don't want to be infamous. When somebody is making us infamous, we become angry towards that person because we don't want infamy. Why did you say that to that person about me? Because it was not a very nice thing. और अगर आपके लिए कुछ अच्छा बोला गया उसके बारे में कभी आप पूछोगे नहीं कि क्यों तूने मेरी अच्छाई करी, वो उस पर हमें चिंता नहीं होती क्योंकि वो तो हम सबको चाहिए. So wanting fame, craving for fame, and not wanting to be infamous, wanting respect. So these are all the things which in crux we can see that whenever we are suffering, even if a little bit of unease is going on in our life, इसमें से कुछ ना कुछ हमें मिल जाएगा जो हम पकड़ के बैठे हुए. प्रेज, ब्लेम, गेन, लॉस, प्लेजर, पेन, फेम, इन्फेमी, कुछ ना कुछ पिन पॉइंट कर पाएंगे हम. So how to take these situations on the path and use them for our spiritual progress towards inner transformation. So whenever we become conscious of these becoming stuck in the worldly concerns, we can become conscious that, oh, again I got stuck, and that can again bring me back home. Knowing that these slopes are very slippery and from time and again we do get stuck here and there. So this is the heart of the matter in many of the verses, and each verse is dealing with a slightly different nuance of problems that arise in our daily life. तो फिर हम डिफेंसिव नहीं हो पाएंगे ना. अगर हमको ना फेम चाहिए, ना इनफेमस होने में कोई प्रॉब्लम है, तो फिर तो डिफेंसिव होने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है ना. क्योंकि हम टाइम टू टाइम कितने डिफेंसिव हो जाते हैं कि नहीं, हाउ कैन यू से दैट, डोंट यू रिस्पेक्ट मी, डोंट यू केयर फॉर मी, और हाउ कैन यू इवन थिंक दैट आई वुड डू दैट थिंग टू यू. So we become very defensive in various matters of our day-to-day interactions. But when we are not craving for any outer satisfaction from any person, no matter how close that person may be to us, it doesn't matter. Then ठीक है, जो जिसको सोचना है सोच सकता है, सबको सोचने की पूरी छूट है. बट आपका जो अपने साथ आपकी फ्रेंडशिप है, जो अपने ऊपर आपका कॉन्फिडेंस है, अपने साथ एक इंटीमेसी है, दैट डजंट गेट स्वेड बिकॉज ऑफ not getting approval from other people around. Yeah. So anything here, anyone?
Yeah, so Monica, so this is where I thought I'll bring it up. So today's quote, right? The aim of ordinary life is to do one's duty, and the aim of the spiritual life is to serve the divine, right? So what does that come? I mean, like, we are reading these things also is in these lines. So when one says the aim of ordinary life is to do one's duty, so does that include the our relationships, our the samsara, the all that it involves? So when one says duty, what does duty truly mean over here? Like, how do we?
I think ordinary life, if we don't have any spiritual inclinations, so what we have is the basic day-to-day matters, right? So if I am a father, then my job is to take care of the family nicely,
Hmm.
to give the best bringing according to my understanding to my children, to care for the family, to provide for the family, for example, little things.
Hmm.
And of course, to care about my own self, because if I'm not caring about myself, how would I care for the family? So, just basic things, because then I don't have any higher aims or goals, but the basic day to day activities at least, वहां पे फिर एक एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि वहां पे तो कम से कम मैं लेजीनेस नहीं दिखाऊं, है ना, क्योंकि चाहे ऑर्डिनरी बेसिक लाइफ में जीना चाहता हूँ, कम से कम वो तो ढंग से जिए. So there
Hmm.
mother shares that the aim of ordinary life is to just be true to your duties. If you are a father, if you are a mother, if you are a human being, your duty is to keep your city clean, or the basic sanity that we can have in our life. And
Right.
for that I need not have any spiritual inclinations.
Hmm.
May not have. We have many people who we may know around us, that who are very good in their day to day life. They don't have any spiritual inclinations, but they perform their responsibilities well. They take care of themselves, and cleaning the house and basic, what we have in
Hmm.
our families.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel that that was pointing towards that you were asking in the morning, that the
Hmm.
basic aim, if you don't have any spiritual inclination, is to perform your duties well, and that's it. Nothing more.
Hmm.
But if you have spiritual inclinations and spiritual aims, then you can't be satisfied with that. ये हमारे साथ होने लग जाता
Ah,
है ना, that we.
yeah, that's where I was yeah. So that was just what was, not about confusing, but yeah, I think because yeah, obviously this the so-called life or whatever, whether you want to call it, or call it ordinary, right? It is not satisfactory, right? So there is something more beyond that, yeah.
And that means that we have a
So
spiritual calling, we have a higher calling,
right.
because that is not
So the
satisfying us. Yeah.
yeah. So when especially there was this, I think this morning I was listening to one of the talks that you had given about making the right choices. I think it was at some of the. So there, in one of them, you said, like, when we are choosing for our, like, suppose our child wants to choose a particular subject, and there's a life plan for them that we are deciding, right? But to leave it at that, and therefore then the um, to see the truth and what manifests out of that, right? What is left. So, and in ordinary life, all these are happenings, right? I mean, so many things. I'm not getting this out of my relationship, I'm not this thing. um and also, uh, the concept of love that we have, right? The idea of love, or like you said, like we think that, oh, to care for someone, to be there or do the things that we have to do, right? So uh, I think my question over here was, when you also do that in the ordinary life, when you are, you do have a spiritual calling, but you're doing it in your ordinary life, is that do we also, serve the person or the situations or the circumstances in the same way that we want to serve the, or, be a part of the divine? Is that something, does that,
ये बहुत ही contextual चीज है जो आप बात कर रहे हो. It's very context based, and we will see that to same question that you, for example, are raising. Mother Sri Aurobindo have given different answers to different people, क्योंकि ये context to context बात है.
okay.
There can't be just one answer, है ना? To
Right.
some they can say to pick up a sword and fight, and to some they can say just leave the sword and get aside.
Right.
So what is the exact situation? आई थिंक देखो ना, ये बार बार हम इसी क्रक्स पे आते हैं कि इस सिचुएशन पे अब मैं क्या करूं, राइट? हम आते हैं टाइम टू टाइम, ये क्वेश्चन हमारे माइंड में आता है. एंड आई थिंक दिस इज द रीजन व्हाई मदर एंड श्री अरबिंदो हैव given so much on stress on getting in touch with your deeper self first. The first point is to get in touch with the psychic, क्योंकि किसकी क्या अनफोल्डिंग है, कौन से सिचुएशन में क्या स्टेप, किस चीज किस बंदे के लिए बेनिफिशियल है, वो हमें ज्ञात तभी होता है जब हम थोड़ा सा कनेक्शन हमारा डीपर सेल्फ के साथ होता है. देन वी आर गाइडेड फ्रॉम विद इन, or we then enter into a deep discussion and or maybe undergo a kind of a modality which takes us actually deeper and we get the answers from within, है ना? वो भी possible है. Like we undergo hypnosis or other techniques which take us into a very quiet kind of a state. People have such kind of modalities which are very helpful, so that your surface chatter is शांत now, है ना? तो वो इतना शांत कर देते हैं, surface chatter बिल्कुल शांत हो जाता है, and then automatically from within you the answer that you are looking for arises. You know that answer, है ना? It is only because the surface chatter is so loud usually with us that we are asking that, oh कहाँ है मेरे पास आंसर, I can't see that answer. तो उस आंसर को तक पहुंचने के लिए, वो डीपर लेयर तक पहुंचने के लिए we make use of these modalities, different practices which make us go deeper in our layers and get in touch with that part in us which knows. We need time, from time to time we need help. एक बार आदत पड़ जाए, खुद डिसिप्लिन हो तो हम खुद भी कर सकते हैं, but usually we are not adept right from the beginning, so we need all kinds of help from therapists or people who can lead us to such a deep, calm, relaxed state where we can access that answer that we are looking for, or maybe the question dissolves.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, anything more over here? Anyone? So we can take then the next para also, starting from normally when someone steals things from us. If anyone would like to read, please go ahead.
Normally, when someone steals things from us, we get upset, feel deprived, and of course, we want to get our things back again. This verse is not saying that, for example, if someone steals our passport, credit cards, and so on, we wouldn't go to the police to try and get them back. But from the point of view of practice, suppose, for example, we have wealth and someone robs us. There are two issues here. First, if we are robbed, it is the result of having stolen from someone else in the past, some past karmic action we had ourselves performed. Now that karmic debt is cleared, so that is nice. Second, if someone takes everything we own, then we no longer have to protect it. The more people have, the more they need alarm systems and guard dogs and triple locks and surveillance systems. The wealthier we get, the more incarcerated we are by our possessions. If we don't have much, then it is highly unlikely that anyone is going to bother to take it. And if we do lose it, so what? Instead of getting all upset, if people steal things from us, we can say, in this and future lives, I will offer all my body, possessions, and merit. We don't even get caught up in creating a nice merit bank account for the future. We offer everything. Take it all. You are welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So there is a very nice bhajan by Kabir ji. It is called Man Lagyo Moro Yaar Fakiri में. जो सुख पायो राम भजन में वो सुख नाही अमीरी में. So as it says, that if we have more and if we want more, then we also have to be protective about that more that we have. But if we don't want that more, even if it is there, then there is no problem at all. The more we want, the more burdened we become, because now we have to protect it. Now we need all kinds of different lockers and locks to protect it. But अगर कोई कुछ है ही नहीं, बेफिक्रे और what they say बेपरवाह, चाह गई चिंता मिटी मनवा बेपरवाह, जिनको कुछ नहीं चाहिए वो शाहन के शाह. So he is not saying that the ones who possess a lot are the kings. He is saying the ones who do not want anything, who do not want these accumulations, they are the ones who are the true kings. सो वी ऑफर एवरीथिंग. एक बार लुट गए तो पूरा अपने आप को खोल के रख दिया, रादर देन प्रोटेक्ट करने के बजाय कि क्या ले सकते हो ले जाओ, ये भी ले जाओ, वो भी ले जाओ, क्या ले सकते हो. सो टू हैव दैट कनेक्शन विद इन, टू हैव दैट इंटीमेसी विद इन, टू हैव दैट डेप्थ एंड ग्रेस विद इन, कि हमारा पूरा का पूरा जो एक द लीनिंग बैक अपॉन, as mother says, that lean back only on the divine and nothing else, then you are safe. अच्छा, अप्रूवल नहीं दे रहे मत दो, इंसल्ट कर रहे हो दे दो. यू आर मेकिंग मी अ नोबडी, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. So that requires a lot of, again, as we see with life experiences, we develop that kind of an inward intimacy and certitude that I am completely fine. And we can go through all the challenges in life, no matter how miserable that condition may be, looking from the outward view. Still, there is always something to grow and progress through that situation. कुछ ना कुछ जरूर अंदर की अमीरी ही मिलती है हमको, kind of a growth in consciousness through all these challenges of life. तो फिर घबराने की क्या बात है, क्योंकि घबराते हम challenges से हैं, और जब challenges हमें growth of consciousness दे रहे हैं तो फिर घबराने की बात आती कहाँ पे है. अरे कहीं ये ना हो जाए, अरे कहीं वो ना आ जाए, है ना. तो worst possible may be the best we have actually, because the worst possible will give us the best growth of consciousness. तो घबराने की तो कोई, there is actually no point where we can get anxious. If, of course, we want to do this practice and take everything on the path. So anything here, anyone? Okay, so maybe we can just take the last bit for today and then we can end, starting from the idea of cherishing even those. So, would anyone like to read this little bit?
Yeah, I'm going ahead. The idea of cherishing even those who are committing misdeeds is the focus of the fourth verse of Langri Tangpa's 8 verses for training the mind. When I see ill-natured people overwhelmed by wrong deeds and pain, may I cherish them as something rare, as though I had found a treasure trove.
Yeah. So, rest we will take later. I think otherwise it will just stretch too much. I think for today we have enough points to kind of reflect upon and practice and take on to the path. Everything that we are going through in our life, we can take that on the path. And then we have to be afraid of actually nothing, because all the challenging, difficult situations can be taken on the path. Nothing has to be excluded. So, no worry at all. Yeah. So, any last comments anyone wants to share before we do the dedication? Okay, so let us dedicate then, just taking a moment to share all the merit that we may have, individual merit, all the goodness, all the collective goodness and merit, sharing it with all the sentient beings, near and far, our enemies, our friends, people unknown to us, all the creatures. May we not suffer, and may all of us have true happiness and the causes and conditions for true happiness. And may we be able to spread all the light that we have, all of us, in whatever little ways that we can spread it. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
so
ma'am. Thank you.
bye-bye.